Dr. Walkley, would you like to introduce?
Yes. Backed by popular demand this evening, we have both Mr. Mulhern and Dr. Severine, and they are responsible for our two presentations this evening. And right now, I'd like to turn it over to Mr. Mulhern.
Good evening, everybody. The first presentation, the first workshop is going to be on autism. April is Autism Awareness Month. And as has become the tradition here in Beacon at the board meetings in April, at one of the April board meetings, parents, students, and other members of the community present a little bit of information on not only autism itself, but also events that are happening and opportunities for the school district and the community to work together on behalf of students on the autism spectrum. Before I introduce the first speaker, I'd like to mention that outside of the LGI room here, there are two tables. There are some posters on autism, autism awareness, and information on autism. Feel free to take some of the material and share it with friends who might benefit from it. I'm also going to ask Alexander, while I'm setting up this next part, if he would provide for you the information that was made by some of the parents and Alexander to give to you as board members about autism.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
One of the biggest days every year in Dutchess County anyway, in the Hudson Valley, is that there is a autism walk and expo of the Hudson Valley. It's held at Dutchess County Fairgrounds in my favorite town, Rhinebeck, and it is this Sunday, April 26th, and it starts at 9 o'clock and goes to 1 o'clock. It is a great day. If you are looking for something to do and get some exercise, we walk around the track, we listen to some rock and roll, we drink a lot of stuff that probably I shouldn't drink or eat, but we have a good time. And the thing that's important for me is, because I've been with autism since 1978, when I was an intern at NYU Medical Center, working with Dr. Magda Campbell, who was a neuropsychiatrist, working with children with autism, including her daughter. And in those days, there was no celebration about autism. It was just a mystery. No one knew what to do with it. But we've been doing a lot, and in this district, as you'll hear, we're doing a lot as well. So, with that said, I'd like to introduce Ruthie Novell, who is the parent of Alexander, and one of our longest-standing parents who have been part of the parent group that meets every month about the district and our work together to help children on the autism spectrum.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. As you're aware, I'm Ruthie Novell, I'm Alexander's mom. Alexander is a senior and an honor student here at Beacon High School. He has Asperger's syndrome, which is under the autism spectrum. I am going to repeat a couple of things that I've repeated throughout the years that I've been here, so please bear with me because we have a new audience and some new faces here. Autism is called neurological because it involves the brain. The areas of the brain that are affected are learning, communication, and social skills. Because Alexander will be graduating this year, this will be our last time presenting to you about autism awareness in our schools and our community. We hope that there will be others that will carry through what we've done on autism awareness. The Center for Disease Control stated 1 in 68 children were diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder. Please note that this is an estimate. This estimate is based on children living in 11 communities. It does not represent the entire population of children in the United States. As I mentioned last year, you will continue to see more and more students on the autism spectrum entering the Beacon City School District. Because of this, I've stated that it would be extremely helpful to teachers and school personnel to have ongoing training throughout the school year. It will help them to better understand how to meet their students' individual needs for success. The results that you will see in these students will be amazing and rewarding. Because there has been some training, success has already been seen. Last year I had mentioned that Alexander has made me a better person. He's taught me to be more patient and more understanding, and I'm grateful for that. Also, he's shown me that he's pretty bright. He's overcome quite a few obstacles, and I'm very proud of him. During this journey, there have been quite a few speed bumps along the way, but we've had the privilege of working with wonderful, caring, and dedicated teachers and school personnel. Working together as a team and focusing on Alexander's individual needs has made it possible for him to succeed. Paul, which is Alexander's dad, Alexander and myself are very thankful to all of his teachers and the school personnel that have supported him throughout his school years. They won't be forgotten, and they know who they are. I also would like to thank the National Honor Society for making Autism Awareness their legacy project, which means that every year for the month of April, they will be spreading autism awareness throughout the Beacon City School District and the community. They've worked very hard in promoting autism awareness. I belong to a parents' autism group. These parents, they have children on the autism spectrum they do attend the Beacon City School District, and it's led, as you know, by the Director of People Personnel, Mr. Frank Mulhern. We meet once a month. We discuss how parents in the Beacon City School District can work together to meet our children's individual needs so that they can reach their highest potential and be successful. Mr. Mulhern, as you probably know already, is retiring this year. Where is he?
Right behind you.
Oh, there he is. On behalf of the parents, I just want to thank you for your compassion, your continued time and support, and we wish you and your family all the best. And Frank, you won't be forgotten either. And I would like to end off, as I always do every year, presenting the autism awareness, that it's a win-win situation for all. The Beacon City School District can predict, prepare, and plan for the success to students on the autism spectrum. Teachers and school personnel with ongoing training throughout the school year will allow them the tools that they need to meet their students' individual needs that are on the spectrum for success. Parents will know that their children are learning and reaching their highest potential, and that they're happy and safe in their learning environment. And most of all, and not least, our children, your students, will feel successful, safe, accepted, respected, and understood in school. And I'm speaking on behalf of my family and friends and other parents that have children on the autism spectrum. I want to thank you, the members of the board, for allowing us to continue to present the importance of autism awareness here at the Beacon City School District and the community. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I'd like to present my son, Alexander, that will be speaking soon, right now.
Never can embarrass me.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Do it again.
I'm sorry. I had to introduce you.
Can anyone hear me?
Yes.
Good evening. Good evening. My name is Alexander Paul Lavelle. I am a senior at Beacon City School District. I've attended here since kindergarten. I have Asperger's, is form of autism. Autism is another way of being and thinking. I'm here to advocate for all students who are and will be attending the Beacon City School District. I communicated to you before that it's crucial that all teachers and school personnel have knowledge and understanding on how autism can affect students. Learning, communication, social skills, anxiety, and sensory difficulties, also examples of some challenges. For example, for me, listening to certain sounds which can be painful and sometimes a touch, and I can easily become overloaded with anxiety. Depending on the situation, these are some examples of my challenges, not just in school, but in general. One school personnel has ongoing training and how to better work with students in the autism spectrum. The students' function of life and future will have some more smooth sailing ahead. Throughout my school years at Beacon City School District, there have been a lot of ups and downs. Because my parents and school personnel have been working together as a team to meet individual needs. My ability to succeed, I have been successful. I want to thank all the teachers and school personnel who got to know me and helped me succeed throughout my school years at Beacon City School District. With more teachers and school personnel being provided with more knowledge in working with students in the autism spectrum, I know the Beacon City School District will continue to make a difference. I know the Beacon City School District will continue to make a difference for students to learn better, feel more safe, and just like our peers, we want to feel successful, respected, accepted, understood. Thank you. And now here's Jenny, who will be doing her speech.
Hello, I'm Jenny Felia from the Howland Public Library, and I'm head of youth services there. I always like to come and speak a little bit about how communities can be partners in autism awareness. And you heard Ruthie say that the latest statistics from the Centers for Disease Control Prevention estimates that 1 in 68 children have been identified with autism spectrum disorder. That is a lot of children. Almost half of the children identified with ASD had an average or above average intellectual ability. On average, children identified were not diagnosed until age 4, even though they can be diagnosed as early as age 2. But about 80% of the children identified had special education eligibility for autism at school or had an ASD diagnosis from a clinician. This means that about 20% had documented symptoms in their records but had not yet been classified. Whether or not they are diagnosed, classified, or have special education qualifications, all of these children will eventually become young adults, leave high school, and enter the next stage of their lives. It is not only important for them to be prepared, but equally important that their communities be prepared. The need for resources, support, mentors, and people who can help them to have successful lives is crucial. Howland Public Library has a former Beacon High School student, as I know many of you know, Rich Jewell, as one of our staff members. Rich has autism, and he began volunteering at the library while still in high school, participating in the Work to School program. After Rich graduated, this turned into a job for him. He is now in his 4th year, and his duties and hours have doubled. We are very proud of him, and he does a great job in assisting both the staff and the patrons. But Rich is only one person. There are many, many more young people who need businesses and organizations to support them with jobs, mentorship, or educational opportunities. It's important to note that most people on the high end of the spectrum are very capable of holding down jobs and becoming devoted employees. They have excellent focusing skills and can easily handle a work routine. Like anyone else, they have very diverse talents and skills. Howland Public Library is involved in community awareness and education through our large collection of resources for families, individuals on the spectrum, and staff and educators working with these students. These resources are used frequently by families and individuals, but I would like to make the district aware of the resources for the teaching staff as well. With that new statistic of 1 in 68, it is very likely that they will be working with students on the spectrum at one time or another. It's imperative that they understand these students and have the knowledge on how to enhance their education and their school experience. Please feel free to see our bibliography on the subject that's out on the tables outside. And as many of you know, Ruth Novell and I run a support social group for young people with ASD or other social challenges called Young Adult Connections. We are nearing the end of our 4th year, and we are very proud to say that it has been very successful as well as a lot of fun. Our mission statement is, Young Adult Connections provides young people with a safe, supportive, non-judgmental environment so that they may express themselves, share their talents and passions, and be empowered to use these strengths to connect with their peers and their community. I believe that it is very important that the Beacon City School District collaborate with businesses and organizations in order to facilitate a supportive post-high school transition for our young people on the autism spectrum. Thank you very much for allowing me to speak. Thank you.
So I want to conclude this part of the workshop by thanking Ginny Figlia, Alexander Novell, and Ruthie Novell for their presentation, but I also want to thank you, because 7 years ago there was a big meeting here, not a board meeting, a CSE meeting, where it was really trying to be figured out whether we had the stuff to help educate Alexander. There was lots of questions about where he should go to school. The CSE, supported by the board and supported by the family, decided it was here. Alexander will be attending Dutchess Community College in the fall. High school diploma from Beacon City School District. So we made a good decision. Your support helped. Thank you very much. That one works. Yeah, if you want to start it. So, the second workshop is on the Beacon City School District Guidance Plan. And speaking with me tonight are Dr. John Sieverding, Beacon High School Principal, Beth Catalano, who's the Coordinator for Guidance in the district, and Michelle Polhamus, who is one of the high school guidance counselors right here in this school. The board has received the updated 2015-17 guidance plan already in your packets. It's a lot to absorb, 35-plus page document. It is updated from the previous one you got, adding in some new requirements, some new allowances in terms of graduation requirements for students, and some other items that we've developed over the last couple of years. We're not going to go through that document, but we put together a very brief PowerPoint for you that will be presented by the four of us, and I will guide you through it, and we want to leave room for any questions and some comments by the guidance staff here. So, If you don't know already, we have 6 guidance counselors in the district. At Rombout Middle School, we have Lisa DeSimone and Phyllis Manson. And at the high school, we have Beth Catalano and Michelle Polhamus, who are here, as well as Anna Orlando and Dawn Smith. You'll notice that in our guidance plan, we do mention guidance at the elementary level. We do not provide guidance counselors per se at the elementary level, but the guidance that's offered there is conducted through the teachers and the principal in consultation with our guidance staff. The mission is pretty self-apparent, but the idea is that there is assistance offered to students to identify their unique abilities, not too far off from what we do through our CSEs, but for all students, and offering students the greatest pathways to enriched educational and careers with respect for diversity and the development of human relationships. The key elements of a guidance and counseling program is counseling, individual student planning, responsive services, and system support. Those sound like just 4 terms. There's a lot of work that really is involved in each of them. And you see it evident. I'm central office, so I get to come into the high school and I can see what guidance is doing on behalf of our students. I can hear it in the students. I could hear it at CSE meetings when we're trying to figure out what the next steps and the future goals for students are. And even outside of special education needs with general ed students, counseling, planning, etc. are provided. Responsive services. Those of you who work with children, but particularly adolescents, early adolescents, we're responding to a lot of situations that parents had no idea about, that we don't necessarily plan for, but we have to be responsive to. Mr. Silvera, our attorney who's here tonight, has spoken to me recently about this wave that is evident in school districts that his firm is familiar with in terms of school and social anxiety. It's a major disorder that's affecting a lot of kids. Our guidance staff, as well as many other staff, have to be responsive to that. We learn as we go. We don't always know it all when we first hear it. But the role and the responsibility of the guidance and counseling program is to be responsive to things such as that. Sometimes it's loss during their upbringing, loss of a family member, loss of their homes. The board is well aware of the rate of homelessness we have right here in the Beacon District. And quite often the guidance staff are involved in mediating that and assisting children and their families in terms of getting through that time. And then overall system support. Guidance don't work in classrooms, but they do. Guidance don't work in the gym, but they do. Guidance staff do not work necessarily in central office, but they do. They don't really have a obligatory role on the CSE, but they do participate. So they are a system support staff, and they are involved in just about every aspect of students' lives and the education that we provide. So those are the 4 key elements. Major areas of focus, I'm not going to read this to you, but just point it out to you that the next 3 slides will help define what the major areas of focus are for guidance on the high school, middle school, and elementary levels. Communication is a big thing, and it's a big thing because I, as a parent, as well, often one of our biggest complaints is nobody gets back to me. Communication is critical, and the guidance staff have quite a large caseload numbers, but are responsible for improving that homeschool communication. They assist students in identifying their future goals, their academics, choosing courses, post-high school education and vocational plans, and reviewing each plan individually. On the middle school level, communication is at the top as well. Student transitions. Middle school is known as transition. They're not there long enough to forget that they transitioned from elementary, and not there long enough to ignore that they're going to transition to the high school. And they are in the middle of the middle of the middle in terms of youth and adolescent development. They provide services helping to lead students to higher academic performance, promoting social and emotional health of students, and maintaining work relationship with community agencies. And quite often that is a big job. A lot of kids are involved with community agencies, both because they have needs or they are involved because they are volunteers or they have an interest in something as well. On the elementary level, we're preparing students to participate effectively in their future educational programs to the best of your ability and to the best of their ability to understand what that's about. But helping kids acclimate to school, to be positive about school, to help families to make sure that kids are attending regularly, and assist students concerning avoidance of child sexual abuse, that should say child abuse and sexual abuse, to encourage parental involvement. Those are the those are the major areas that we work on and deliver with guidance. With that said, I asked Beth and Michelle if they would just comment from their point of view on some of the key things that they do in detail related to that.
Good evening. When Frank was talking about the comprehensive guidance and counseling program, I thought about a student. I'm going to name him John. He is now a junior, and next year he'll be taking all Dutchess Community College courses here at Beacon High School. John was socially promoted from the middle school, didn't want to attend school. We had to do a pins on him. Ended up taking him to court. He came to school because he was told to come to school. He walked right out. We continued to work with him, called home. His father's in jail. Mother is a drug addict. A couple of his brothers are also involved with the law. We don't give up. That's what we do. So outside of doing career stuff, which we do, which is great, we're right now in the middle of scheduling, which is really my favorite part of the year, because you get to sit with each individual student, guide them, talk to them about doing community service, talk to them about what their dreams are, whether it's college, military, or working. Our goal is to prepare them so that they can go out into the world and do their best. So this young man, we worked with him. We continue to communicate. We have to work with youth services. We worked with probation. We worked with Child Protective Services. And it paid off. It paid off, and that's what we do. So outside of all the scheduling, all the things that everybody knows that we do, there's always that other thing that we need to do to try to save the child. That's our goal.
I echo you. I think what you said was absolutely perfect. Yeah, just today I had to call one of my seniors on their cell phone and say, are you coming to school? She hasn't been to school for a couple of days, and that's what we do. It's about the personal connection, constant emails with parents and guardians, and I personally feel here at Beacon High School we have one of the strongest guidance departments around. Albeit I'm biased, but I just want to take a few minutes just to put a couple plugs in. In a couple weeks at the end of May, we will be going into the classrooms and doing a career inventory with our sophomores. And just next week, on Thursday, almost a week from now, we are having our 7th annual college fair. There will be over 70 colleges and universities, trade schools, members of the military present. So I would like to invite all the members of the board, if you're available, for a couple minutes to stop on by. It's an awesome event. It's Thursday, April 30th from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. in the high school gym. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Let me just fill in a couple of things what Ms. Catalano and Ms. Palamas were talking about. Most of us think of the counseling role as some of the probably more traditional kinds of things that they do. But I can tell you that on a daily basis, I'm usually through the guidance office working with the counselors. And most of them are, of course, the situations that occur normally, like what was spoken about, like the scheduling, counseling kids, getting ready for college applications, writing their letters to the various colleges. But lots of it also has to do with youngsters that are sort of outside the typical services that we provide. I mean, I can tell you right now, We are now in the fourth quarter, and a couple of days ago, a student showed up registering to come to school in Beacon High School from another district. And here we are, into fourth quarter. And, what do? The young lady had significant attendance problems. So we came up with a plan. This is how we can probably do it. Tailor the instruction for this person using our credit recovery programs. But it's a constant counselors making contact and getting these kids to come to school. Because as you well know, you're here in the district, you're here for one day, and it's a student that will be attending Beacon City School District, although the individual is probably over 19 years old, and all that has happened in the past doesn't really count. It's right here, what we do with it, and we'll work our best. But I can tell you, working with the counselors has been a rewarding experience, and I find them to be very professional and very creative in coming up with solutions to the problems. And I'm privileged to be part of that. Thank you. Questions? Thank you, Frank. I mean, he sat in my office and he took all my thunder. He did all of that. No, he really didn't. But we'd like to entertain any questions that you may have. Come on. No? Okay, thanks.
Thank you so much.
Thanks very much.
Okay, in reverse order now, I'd like to call to order the regular meeting of the Beacon Board of Education. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Angela Everett. Here. Mrs. Gadsden. Here. Mrs. Galbo.
Here.
Mr. Garna.
Here.
Mr. Munoz.
Excused.
Mrs. Patchen.
Here.
Mr. White.
Here.
Mr. Azab.
Here.
Mrs. Thompson.
Here. Dr. Walker, will you review the fire exits?
Yes, fire exits are directly in front of the board.
We have a motion for executive session.
Motion to adjourn to executive session to review the employment history of a particular individual, and the board will return as soon as possible. Second.